back to 10-Minute Strategy, part 2 of my discussion with Rajat Paharia. He is the founder and chief product officer of Bunchball, which you can visit at bunchball.com. In our first part of the discussion, which if you haven't seen, I'd recommend you take a look at it at 10minutestrategy.com, we talked about a broad view of game mechanics, of the sort of history of gaming and how it's been used over time to address marketing and business objectives. What I want to do with Rajat in this discussion is focus on three relatively well-known examples of game mechanics in use for fun and for business. So the first one is really a consumer app it's a business app in terms of advertising, but it's the very biggest game mechanics example out there, right? And that's Farmville. So why don't you, as a way to get us into the topic, why don't you take us through Farmville at all its elements?
Sure. Yeah. So if you take a look at Farmville, I mean, Farmville's a game, so it's clear that it's going to make heavy use of game mechanics. But if you kind of squint your eyes, you can actually ignore the game part, the whole harvesting and planting of plants. You will notice that like a heavy use of game mechanics throughout the user interface. So in the upper left-hand corner, you have your point balance, and as I talked about in the last session, people love points. They love to be rewarded, to have the status and the achievement. Then in the middle of the top of the screen, you have your level and your progress towards the next level. Levels are like frequent flyer programs. They're belts in karate. They're job titles. They're this idea that I've reached this milestone, this level of accomplishment in the community, and should be afforded a certain amount of respect and status for having done so. Maybe even unlocking access to new abilities or content on the site. And then you've got your virtual farm and your avatar, which are simple self-expression components. They're a place to spend this currency, a reason to want to earn more, and the ability to customize something that reflects your identity. And that gets you invested, it gets you locked in, and it becomes a really great vector for creativity and competition and self-expression in the community. And then you have these things they call ribbons, which are basically the equivalent of achievements or badges or trophies. This idea of giving users missions to accomplish and then rewarding them for doing so. It's giving people goals. People love having goals, and they love feeling like they're working towards something. Most websites and apps have no towards. You're just there. You're doing, but you're not going anywhere. In the game world, they figured this out. The two kind of stellar other examples being the Xbox 360 and Pogo. So the 360 for young males, every new game comes with 12 or more achievements, and they use them to drive people to play the game more. And Pogo has badges on their website. That's 35 and up females. It's Electronic Arts casual gaming site, very successful, one of the stickiest sites on the internet. And they use these badges to drive traffic to underperforming parts of the site, new parts of the site, to encourage exploration and to encourage mastery, often with the dual goal of driving real business value while deepening my personal engagement with the content. So in Farmville, for example, I can earn ribbons by inviting friends. Well, every time I invite a friend, I'm acquiring a new customer, but I'm also got more of my friends playing, so I'm much more likely to stick around. So you can see Farmville makes actually a fairly heavy use of game mechanics throughout their user interface.
Excellent. So, and what are the numbers on Farmville? Is it like half of Facebook using Farmville?
Yeah, it was something crazy. At its peak, it was, I think, at 80 million monthly unique visitors. Now I think it's down to about 60-something because Cityville has now overtaken it, and Cityville at its peak hit about 100 million.
Interesting. Okay, so the second example is a customer of yours, part of NBC Universal. It's USA Network's Club Psych.
Yeah, so you can try this one out at clubpsych.com, clubpsych.com. And so Psych is one of the character-driven shows on the USA Network. It's in its 5th season, and the guys at USA Network wanted to build a loyalty program for the TV show. So there's a lot of companies now realizing that loyalty isn't just a function of how many dollars somebody spends with you, but it can mean a lot more. And in the case of a TV show, it can be, you've got all these rabid, engaged fans, and how do you engage them? How do you activate them? How do you turn them into your viral marketing team? And so they built a loyalty program called Club Psych, where you earn points for various things that you'd do anyway if you were interested in Psych, like playing the Psych games and watching videos and commentaries and participating in the Psych chatter and all these other things. You can then take those points, you compete on a leaderboard with other Psych fans. Other ways you can earn points is by doing social media missions, like liking Facebook fan pages or posting Twitter updates, and then you can take those points and you can redeem them for either virtual goods to customize your own Psych virtual office with pineapples and smoothies and things like that that apparently people on the show know about, and then or actual real dollar value goods like skateboards and Psych DVDs and signed autographed posters. And they've even done something. These guys have been very clever, and they've actually done a program called Campus Wars not too long ago. I think it was the end of 2010, where schools around the country could compete to get a mention on the show.
Oh my gosh.
And so when you went to earn points, you didn't just earn points for yourself, you also earned them for your school.
Very
and
clever.
The school, the team that had the most points at the end, would get a mention in an upcoming episode. So Brigham Young actually killed it and won the competition. The other thing the Psych guys have done is these guys really understand the whole dual screen experience. So they know that while people are watching TV, they're also playing on their iPads or on their notebooks, laptops, whatever. And so what they've done is they've built an iPhone app called Psych Vision. So as you're watching the show, you have a whole secondary experience on the iPad. So you can be watching extended scenes, you can be checking in and earning points, and a whole bunch of other activities that tie the whole experience together between the website, the iPad app, and the TV show. So it's been great for those guys. It's driven an increase in page views. I can't remember the statistics completely offhand, but I think it was like in the Psych vertical went from 9 million page views to 16 million. Time on site went from on average 2 minutes a session to page views went from 2 page views per session to 4.5. Time on site went from increased by a certain number of minutes. And really interestingly, so they had all this great digital results, right, on the online website. But then Jesse Redness, the VP at USA Network, has announced that they saw a 40% increase in viewership in the 18 to 34 demographic of the show, which was tremendous.
Their actual business of getting eyeballs to watch a TV show at its live time, where they can see commercials. That's huge, right?
Yeah, it's been awesome for those guys. And so now they're taking that program and they're replicating it across a bunch of the other shows like White Collar and Burn Notice and Covert Ops.
Do you happen to know how involved the creative team is? I mean, and by creative team, I mean the writers and producers of the show with the game mechanics?
I actually don't know, but I do know that Jesse Redness, the VP at USA Network, has been fairly heavily involved with a lot of the digital creative and interacting with the writers and the actors in the show. But I don't know specifically about this campaign. Right.
I mean, I would think, considering the success, that they're all probably involved to some degree in deciding what's appropriate to put within the game experience.
Absolutely. I mean, there have been TV trailers starring with the stars of the show talking about Club Psych. And I believe there's actually a panel at South by Southwest that discusses Club Psych that has a lot of these guys on it, like James O'Day and Dule Hill and stuff.
Excellent. It's a fun show. And finally, and we only got about a minute and a half left, let's talk about one that we've discussed I need to get involved in. And this is a Microsoft program called Ribbon Hero.
Yeah, so there's this group at Office, the Office Labs group, that gets to try out new things, and what they're trying to do is get people to learn more of Microsoft Office, because there's all these people that use it that only use about 10% of the functionality, and they're now looking at alternatives like Google Docs and others, and if they can get people mastering this product, then it's huge for them, because it gets people tied into their product and then in the upgrade cycle. So they built a plugin you can download called Ribbon Hero, that basically turns learning Office, so Word, OneNote, PowerPoint, and Excel into a game. You earn quick points just for using the application, but then when you can complete challenges, like can you left align this paragraph, or can you make this smart art diagram? And if you do, you earn more points and ribbons and complete challenges, and can share your status on Facebook to tell all your friends that you're kicking ass at Microsoft Word. And people are doing it. In their couple of minutes between meetings, they're learning more about these products that they use every day and gaining mastery over them, which is huge, right? That gets people more invested and tied to the product.
Yeah, I think that's a very clever story, and I love it when it's like the Psych example as well, where your real world you're not just doing a game to do a game, or to generally build up a community. That you're actually driving a specific business objective.
Exactly.
And by the way, your clientele, your fans, they appreciate that. They like you because of your main business.
Yeah.
Right? So the more you make the game mechanics and that activity related to your main business, that must be one of the keys to success in the game mechanics space, right?
It is. You have to have good core content at the center of all this. If you don't, I mean, you got a news site, you don't have fresh news every day, no amount of game mechanics is going to help you.
Right.
People have to want to come back to your site anyway because you've got something good there.
Interesting. Excellent. Well, Rajat, this is really an excellent discussion. I'm sure the people out there will get a lot out of it. And if they want to find you, they should look you up at bunchball.com.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. For 10 Minute Strategy, this is Peter Propp. Thanks, Rajat.
Thanks, Peter.